Welcome to GUMMETAL TV, the greatest source for information surrounding one of the industry's leading orthodontic supply manufacturers. I'm your host, Victoria. Developed by Toyota Central R&D Labs, GUMMETAL has unique capabilities that cannot be obtained from any other conventional metallic materials. It's a wire like no other. Whoever you are, wherever you are, GUMMETAL TV is here to answer all of your questions and be your one-stop shop for ortho solutions. Come tune into the genius that is Toyota's developed product GUMMETAL here on GUMMETAL TV. Welcome to GUMMETAL TV, where we talk about revolutionizing the industry through using a better product to get a better smile. I'm your host, Victoria. Today, we will take a close look into the impact of using GUMMETAL, why orthodontists choose to use the product, and get an inside perspective from both a doctor and a patient here in our studio. Here to talk about GUMMETAL WOW is Dr. Chang, who has been using this technique since 2014. Dr. Chang is a remarkable orthodontist known locally in the DFW Metroplex. So would you please help me and welcome Dr. Yoon Chang.
Hello, Victoria.
Hello, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting.
So how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Yeah? All right, so tell me about yourself, Dr. Chang.
Well, I was born in Korea. However, I grew up in Chile. And then I also moved to Peru.
Yeah.
Did my dental training there, and I came to the US as an adult, and had to go for the advanced standing program and the orthodontic program.
Yeah. Wow, that is amazing. So how long have you been an orthodontist?
Since 2011.
Okay, very
But I was a dentist since 2000.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
you've had experience in both fields.
Time really flies.
I can imagine. So for someone who may be watching this and might need a little bit of help with their smile, where is your office located?
We're located in Frisco,
Very nice.
which is a suburb of Dallas.
Yep, very nice. So Dr. Chang, I hear you have a very unique practice. Can you go into the differences between your practice and maybe other traditional practices?
Oh, of course. Our practice, we treat cases that are a little bit, in a way, more complex. Cases that were told to have a jaw surgery, we solve those cases without surgery.
Yeah.
But beyond that, we treat cases from what we call a cranial-facial dynamics point of view, meaning we believe in the capacity of the bones to re-accommodate, to rearrange, despite the age.
Wow, that's so impressive. So I can see a ton of value in that. I mean, not having surgery is probably a great thing for most people.
Oh yeah, definitely. Many patients troubles even comes from even out of state.
Yeah.
To avoid surgery.
Of course.
Yes, I acknowledge certain cases they sure do need surgery, but most of them can be treated non-surgically.
Wow, that's amazing. So I can imagine you've used many ortho products and techniques being in orthodontics for so long. So can you tell our viewers the difference between the typical straight wire technique and then the GUMMETAL or the multi-loop technique?
Yes. The straight wire technique is basically, as the name says, it's a straight wire.
Okay.
So the movement that you can do is mostly in and out movement. There's some twists or what we call torques. However, the foundation of that straight wire technique is that our malocclusion or bite problem has an anterior to posterior problem and transverse problem, the width. So for example, if a patient has an overbite, in that straight wire technique, we try to move that recessed jaw to position forward using different appliances.
Okay.
However, in the multi-loop edgewise techniques, edgewise arch wire technique, using GUMMETAL or a different wire, we believe that it is the vertical dimension the problem. Let's take the same example. overbite case with the recessed jaw, with the use of this multi-loop or gunmetal wire, we are able to increase the length of the molars so that the lower jaw may slowly accommodate forward.
Wow. Wow, I never would have thought we'd talk about teeth in such a cool way. That's very awesome. So would you say that you've seen positive results in using this over the straight wire technique?
Absolutely. I cannot imagine practicing myself using the straight wire. For sure, I use the straight wire at the initial phase of the treatment, but as soon as I can, I will change into a gunmetal wire.
Yeah.
Or even the multi-loop H wire.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's awesome. So actually, Dr. Chang, I've had braces twice in my life. And so is this technique different for adults versus other age groups like children, or really does it depend on your face shape or other variables?
It doesn't change, meaning it is the same treatment philosophy whether you are 4-year-old or 80-year-old.
Oh, wow.
What we are trying to do is to change the vertical dimension, either using the wire or an acrylic crown or whatever tool you may have that may accomplish that. Remember, the wires are only a tool, but a very important tool to get from point A to B.
Yes, absolutely. Very awesome. So I understand that you have a PowerPoint to maybe display a bit more of this information for us?
Sure, I do.
Yes, I would love to learn a little bit more. And our viewers, I'm sure, would love to learn more too.
You mentioned about the different facial types.
Yeah.
So we're gonna, could you? Yes. Thank you. Yeah, human face has a big range of variation. We have individuals with the overbite, where the jaw is recessed big time, a patient with a huge chin, patient with the chin deviated to the side, left or right, and open bite. So if we compare to our closest genetically related cousins, the primates, they always have a perfect occlusion or perfect bite. So in humans, when you see these changes in the bite, we only see what is out there, the facial shape. But if we analyze, we have an overbite because there's a rotation of the bones. For example, the temporal bone here on the sides rotates anteriorly. That brings the maxilla, the upper part of your face, basically the midsection of your face, to come forward. And therefore also the lower jaw, the chin has to be positioned back. So there's a complete rearrangement of the 22 bones that composes your face. And along with that, the vestibular organ changes. So the perception of hearing and the perception of orientation is affected in patients or individuals with different types of bite issues.
Okay.
Finally, there's also a postural correlation.
Oh.
You cannot have a good body posture if you haven't malocclusion.
Interesting.
Because the bones, the relationship between the jaws also impacts the occipital bone, which is the bone that connects to your neck bone.
Wow.
My grandmother used to always tell me, "Oh, put yourself straight." Oh, she used to make a lot of issue about that. Well, Grandma, I'm sorry to say, but I do have an overbite. And if you have an overbite, we always have this situation called face-forward position. It is a position that anatomically you cannot get out from if you have that type of a malocclusion.
Okay. Wow. So your posture really does affect your bite.
Big time, big time. And I see that all the time. We take postural photos from backside view, before and after, during the middle of the treatment, and we definitely see the changes in the body posture.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very fascinating.
So orthodontics should be looked at from a very global perspective, not only from the braces, but from head to toe. Therefore, working in collaboration with other professionals, including physical therapists, optometrists, myofunctional therapists, are very important to get the most out of the treatment.
Absolutely. Wow, thank you.
So I just have a few more slides about how our face grows. Just to give you a little foundation, scientific knowledge. So when we are born, our occlusal plane, the red line that you see there on the figure A, is very steep. And as we get older, with the eruption of teeth, that line becomes flatter and flatter because the jaw comes down and moves forward with it.
Okay.
And as we get older, our face grows mainly in a downward position.
Okay.
Not so much forward. Okay, so in my right side, what we call class 1 is considered a patient with a harmonious development of the teeth and the jaw relationship. Class 2 is when there's an overbite, the jaw is recessed. Class 3 is when there's an underbite. If you look at the difference between these three patients or facial phenotypes, in the class 2 or overbite, the teeth were not able to fully erupt.
Okay.
And because there's not enough eruption, the jaw was not able to come down and go forward. Whereas in the patient with underbite, there has been more eruption of teeth, and along with that, the jaw has come down and forward.
Got it.
We're going to center more on the class 3 cases today, as we have invited a patient with class 3 malocclusion. So we are born as a class 2 with a very small jaw, and as we get older, our jaw is brought down and forward, thanks partially due to the eruption of teeth.
Okay.
So in a patient with a big chin, what's happening is that those molars had erupted too much.
Oh.
And because of that, also there has been a heavy apposition of the condyle, the bone that is within the TMJ. But on top of that, if you have open bite, that's because your molars erupted at a faster speed than the apposition of the bones at the joint level.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I'm just gonna skip that. There's two types of underbite or other-bite where the jaw mainly grew forward, and an underbite where the jaw grew down, and with a little component of open bite.
Okay.
We're gonna show you a case of the first, the class 3 with a forward movement or adaptation of the lower jaw.
Okay.
So this is a patient in the early 30s, and her chief complaint is crossbite. Yeah. You see here how the lower front teeth are forward.
Yeah, they're covering.
Yeah, they're covering, and she went to several orthodontists. All of them said, you need to have jaw surgery. So the way how we accomplish here, the correction of this bite is to increase the vertical dimension.
Okay.
Yeah, I know she had a lot of growth of her molars, but if we are able to compensate by lengthening the height of the molars, we are going to be bringing her jaw down, and we can adapt it backward. Okay, and then I'm going to show you. So some numbers here for the X-ray part, what we call cephalometric analysis.
Wow.
And this is the 15-month progress. She came about maybe a week ago. We took some photos, and that's where she is.
That's fantastic. Oh my goodness.
I was also surprised when I saw these cases for the first time, when
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about this technique.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, this cannot be real. There got to be some Photoshop involved. But it is not.
There you go. There's the proof.
There's that. Initially, she had an anterior crossbite. And then at the 4th month, we used the gunmetal wire, which is a very nice wire in the sense that it gives you the flexibility and the strength to do movement that otherwise you just simply cannot get with a straight wire.
Of course.
So I was able to push the premaxilla, the front part of her upper jaw, forward. And then we use that also to increase the length, the height of the lower teeth. And at 9 months that you see the progress, and at 15 months, you see how the jaw starts to accommodate backwards.
Yeah. Wow.
Of course, this patient has to wear the rubber bands faithfully.
Oh, of course.
There's no way out of that. And so the key orthodontic treatment concept is that we need to first eliminate the discrepancy. We need to make sure that the teeth are aligned correctly without the forward leaning. Also, we need to, after that, we can change the position of the jaw if you don't have any context on the molar area.
Got it.
And finally, we can also move the upper front part of your jaw forward. And that's where all these new wire, the gunmetal, the multi-loop H-wise arch wire has a tremendous advantage over the straight wire.
Got it. Got it. More movement, flexibility.
Oh, that's the shape of the multi-loop wire. That's 5 loops per side.
Okay.
It is very hard to wear. I recognize that, but also give you tremendous advantage.
Yeah.
A lot of detailing can be done.
Yeah.
And this is the gunmetal wire. It's just looks like a regular orthodontic wire, but has a very high young module. It makes that wire very flexible, okay, and also very strong at the same time, which is two properties that we thought it could not be combined together. Because of these two properties, or four properties, it's optimal to increase the height of the teeth or the vertical dimension, and also for uprighting the teeth.
Got it.
Okay. Just for you to see the difference there.
Okay,
and
great.
Finally, what is uprighting? Uprighting is moving a whole section of teeth backward.
Oh, wow.
By doing that, you are moving for example, the lower molar back, and also putting inside of the bone. So if you have an open bite and you are moving the very last molar backward and down, your open bite will slowly close.
Wow. Very amazing.
This is the graph. You get rid of the wisdom teeth, and slowly you can cause that what we call intrusion of the molar, as you can see, to gain a better alignment. Perfect.
Nice.
Now it's time for our next guest.
Well, we have her right there on the screen, but how about we bring her into the studio? So if you're just now tuning in with us, we have Dr. Chang in our studio, getting us up and close and personal with his experience using gunmetal wire. And so when we come back, we will actually get to introduce you to one of his patients who is experiencing the benefits of gunmetal wire right now. Welcome back to Gunmetal TV, where we talk about revolutionizing the industry through using a better product to get a better smile. Seated with me is Dr. Chang, and waiting to be seated is one of his patients who is experiencing the benefits of gunmetal wire. So here to help tell the story is one of Dr. Chang's patients, Sharon. Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here today. How are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So Sharon, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, sure. So when I was a kid, I had braces the first time, I think around 13 years old. Back then, my teeth weren't terrible, I think. There was some issues with just the teeth not being aligned. So my parents took me to see the ortho. I got the traditional braces, and my teeth were all what appeared to be straightened. But what I didn't realize back then was that the bite was still not ideal. So when I was in college, I'm not sure what happened, if it was a stress or different issues that happened, but my bite started shifting a bit. And by shifting, it took, I think, maybe 1-2 years, and it started shifting, and my bottom jaw started shifting to one side.
Oh, wow.
So my midline was off, my bite was off. I started developing an open bite and an underbite.
Oh my goodness.
And I started hearing like clicking sounds in my TMJ area. So I didn't really think much about it for many years. I thought that that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I thought that braces or anything was just out of question too, because that's what you do when you're teenagers, right?
Yeah.
So I moved to Dallas 2 years ago, and a couple of the dentists that I saw actually recommended me to get jaw surgery.
Oh, wow.
So it never really occurred to me to even get jaw surgery. I thought it was just something that I would have to just like live with, right?
Yeah.
So I actually kind of briefly thought about it, about jaw surgery, because I kept getting told that, oh, you should do jaw surgery. It'll help you fix it. It'll look better. It'll be healthier. But then I went on YouTube and started watching some jaw surgery videos.
Oh my.
And got a little bit creeped out, because they literally cut your bone, right, and move it around, and you still need to get braces. So after watching some of the YouTube videos on jaw surgery, I realized like I didn't really want to do jaw surgery. And that's when I started watching more videos. I spent a lot of time on YouTube.
Clearly.
You can tell. And I discovered this method called MEAW, right, where I know Dr. Chang already kind of went over some of how it works, but I actually saw some of it online.
Oh, wow.
And it was really interesting to me, because I would see examples of where people didn't get jaw surgery and they were able to fix things that the traditional braces couldn't fix. And then I just did some Googling, and I found that actually Dr. Chang was one of the few orthos in the US that did this type of technology.
So clearly, Dr. Chang is not the first orthodontist you've seen.
Oh, no, he's not. Yeah, I saw a couple, and then I wanted to get more opinion, but I was getting a little bit discouraged, because I didn't want to keep getting told to go do jaw surgery.
Of course,
So when I found Dr. Chang, even when I went to my first appointment, I mean, even reading the website, it was very different. I think I felt very comfortable because I saw that there was a lot of adult patients.
That's good.
And even the first appointment was very different from my first appointment in other orthos. Dr. Chang really took the time to look at how my jaw movement was, just even in the first half hour one, and then and just like my posture and taking a look at my tongue posture and like looking at my body as a whole, right, to see what the issues was and not just like the teeth. So even that alone, I felt really comfortable that it was different from the other orthos.
That's awesome. So Dr. Chang, was there anything that you might have needed to correct with Sharon, like deviation or shifting at the beginning?
Yeah, definitely. So Sharon already had braces. There has been a lot of compensation. Maybe when she first finished her, her treatment was way better, but there has been so many, changes, including, and the fact that she had this fixed retainer on the lower arch made things a little bit more complicated.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So Sharon, you've kind of already touched on it, but how have you felt about this process as a whole?
Oh, it's been really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think just going in and seeing Dr. Chang's reviews and seeing just everything that I researched around MEAW, I had pretty high confidence, but part of me was still wondering like, oh, maybe it won't work for me, right? But it's only been, I think, 10 months, right?
Yeah,
less than
around there.
Yeah, and I think very quickly, even within the first 3 months, I already saw a lot of movement with the open bite. So it's been really good. I mean,
That's great.
there's a typical braces pain, but I think just seeing the correction so fast, like, is very encouraging.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Dr. Chang, can you give us a little bit more insight onto Sharon's case?
Of course, yes. And thank you, Sharon, for letting us show your case. So Sharon's chief complaint was teeth not closing properly. She had open bite, and she had a significant facial asymmetry. Her chin was deviated a little bit towards the right, and also the right side was clicking, which I don't think is a coincidence right there. So she also has some posterior neck pain, some deviation of her head. Her head was tilted towards the left side of her neck, and you can see how the left shoulder is a little bit lower compared to the right. So the right side of her face was more prominent because that's where the chin was deviated to. Also, the lower facial third, the base of the nose to the chin, was a little bit longer, proportionally speaking, than the mid part of her face. Okay, that was the amount of deviation. If you see how the lower midline in blue is off to the right side, I would say a little bit over 2 millimeters. Which in my world is a big number. Anything above, I would say, 0.5 millimeter is a number that the human eyes can perceive that as being a little bit off. And on top of that, you can see the open bite. All the upper front and lower front teeth are not matching at all. Also, you can see how there's a little bit of a difference in the stiffness. So if you see the frontal, the upper middle photo, you can see how the right side is a little bit higher, meaning the contact of the molars is a little bit higher than the left. So that's how her jaw was adapting to the right side.
Wow.
And these are some occlusal photos. You can see there on the lower arch, she has that beautiful fixed retainer.
There she is.
Which is holding these 6 teeth, but is letting all the other teeth to collapse.
Move,
So in a way, it would have been better just to leave, without any fixed retainer. So that teeth may accommodate according to the functional demands very smoothly. So fixed retainer is something that has always been an issue, at least for me, and I bet for many patients that are wearing that. These are some numbers. So from the orthodontic standpoint, she is what we call class 3 patient, meaning her lower jaw is positioned a little bit forward, and also she has an open bite, and also her lower teeth is also proclined and protruded. So basically, the lower jaw is positioned a bit forward. That's an X-ray. You can see I trace a midline in blue, and you can see how the lower jaw is deviated towards the right side.
Wow.
Different views of that same problem. Here in this what we call panoramic view, you can see the left and the right being a little bit different. The right side being a little bit short compared to the left.
Okay.
Also here we have some differences in the shape of her joint. So the right side that is receiving a heavy amount of pressure or compression is a little bit smaller in shape. Here you can see how on one side, on that side, on my right side, the molars are not occluding or contacting cast to fossa, but almost edge to edge.
Okay.
That's because her jaw was deviated to the right.
Okay.
Here you can see the width of her upper molar to molar was 37 millimeters, which is a very good number for an adult. And then the overjet, the distance between the upper front and the lower front was minus 1.9 millimeters. That's because her upper teeth was positioned backward, basically on the right.
Got it.
On her, we did this different measurement called axiography or condylography, where you add some sensors, some attachment to your lower teeth, and you ask the patient to move your jaw in different dimensions to get additional information. Some lot of data here, but to summarize here, all this data, basically her lower jaw, according to this, was positioned backward.
Okay.
So her right jaw. So the right jaw had to move forward, a much bigger number than the left.
Okay.
Because it's deviated.
Yeah.
And also because of that, also her right joint was receiving a bigger force while she was grinding.
Yeah.
And we have that proof here. You see here we have two curves. You see the right side, the blue line, which is the line where represents the grinding or braxing, is above the green line. So that means that every time she was grinding at nighttime, her jaw was going upward on the right side. We call that compression, joint compression.
Wow.
This is the 10-month progress, which are photos taken days ago. I think last week.
Very nice.
That's when she came to us, and I took these photos, and I asked her if she could join us, and fortunately she did.
Yay.
And you can see the open bite is mostly closed.
Yeah.
The midline asymmetry has decreased tremendously. She is biting cusp to fossa. So her chewing efficiency, especially on the right side, I believe has increased tremendously.
Amazing.
I put some composite photos from initial to the second month. You see those gunmetal wires on the second month that help me to get the quick alignment and get the process of moving or uprighting teeth going. And finally, a few months ago, I switched to the multi-loop wire to give the final touches.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, that's where I am. But you can ask Sharon to share with you more changes.
Yeah. So how does your mouth feel, Sharon?
It feels great.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from the
regular
braces.
braces pain, yeah.
Yeah, but just the way that my teeth fit together, I mean, half a year ago, I already felt a big difference. The way that the molars and everything fit together has been really good. And my joint, the TMJ joint area, it feels less tired. It used to feel tired, and I would hear the clicking. I haven't heard any clicking in a while.
That's great.
Yeah, so
Fantastic.
overall, it's feeling good.
So, okay, Dr. Chang, what are the parameters or the deciding factors for surgery versus this technique utilizing the gunmetal? Is it determined by severity of case or, tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll say the severity is the main reason. There are patients with some genetic mutations, some syndromes. In those cases, yes, surgery is definitely indicated. No doubt about that. But the overwhelming majority of patients don't have that. They have a malocclusion. They may have an underbite, but that has been highly adapted towards that. They were not born with a malocclusion or a genetic difficulty. So I'll say the overwhelming majority of patients are good candidates to having this treatment, the non-surgical orthodontic treatment. However, those patients also needs to be treated in an interdisciplinary approach. So it's not only orthodontics. I just want to make sure it's clear. It's all ENT doctor, myofunctional therapy, physiotherapist, a lot of dental restoration because this patient, same for Sharon, you lost a lot of teeth structure because due to open bite, your molars were touching heavily on the back. And once she's all done with this, I would like her to go to the dentist and get the shape of those molars made into an ideal shape, ideal anatomy.
Yeah. So, and with gunmetal, you've seen improvement, correct?
Absolutely. Gunmetal is a very versatile wire.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of movement that you cannot do with a straight wire.
Yeah.
It takes a very little time to bend those wires compared to the multi-loop wire.
That's convenient.
And from the patient point of view, I bet it was easier on you when you used to have those second types of wire versus the last one. Tell me, was it true? Was it easier for you to keep it clean?
I mean, food does get stuck a little bit more in the third one, right?
Yeah.
But it's not bad. Overall, I think it's
Yeah. So
bad.
yeah.
I think the good thing about the multi-loop ones are you can actually floss because the floss goes through it.
Between.
Yeah, whereas the normal wire you can't floss.
Plus, okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Very
Thank
nice.
you. Yeah, that's the
That
advantage.
was a nice surprise.
Nice. From the orthodontic standpoint of view, I think using either gunmetal or multi-loop will get the job done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. However, there's a little preferences. I sometimes prefer the gunmetal over the multi-loop or the multi-loop over the gunmetal, depending on the case.
Got it. So, in your professional opinion, orthodontists should focus more on the vertical control than the traditional concern that emphasizes the anterior and posterior
Yes.
movement?
Yes, definitely. In school, we are taught that many of the malocclusion has a strong anterior-posterior dimension problem, meaning you have an overbite because your jaw is back, or an underbite because your jaw has grown forward.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, analyze it, it's because of the lack of or too much vertical dimension. So if you are able to control that using wire, this tremendous tool, you should be able to manage those problems very comfortably.
Great. That is great to hear. So, wow, there is simply no denying what a great product gunmetal wire is, but how much more beneficial it is in the hands of an expert doctor. So, Sharon, it has been so great getting to meet you and getting to spend some time getting to know your story today. And Dr. Chang, we are so honored to have you here with us. And we are just so ecstatic that we have such an excellent orthodontist here in this area. So would you mind just reminding our viewers where they can find you again?
Oh, of course. My practice name is Eline Orthodontics, and we are located in beautiful Frisco, Texas.
Very nice. We're going to take a short studio break, but when we come back, we will hear from Kimihiro Asano, a spokesperson for JM Ortho, the company behind gunmetal. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Gunmetal TV. Our next guest is a spokesperson for JM Ortho. He is calling all the way from Japan via Zoom into our studios. Oh, and it sounds like our producers say we're connected. So welcome, Kimmy. We're so glad to see you.
Thank you, Victoria, for your introductions. It's great to see you today, too.
All right, let's get right into it. So my first question for you, how long have you been with JM Ortho?
It has been over 8 years and plus since I joined this company. I'm reminded how fast the time goes, especially in these days. There are even many more co-workers in my office who joined this company after me, so it's a great sign that the company is growing.
Very nice. And how long has gunmetal been around?
GUMMETAL has been on the domestic market since 2010, but we started exporting in 2018. Ever since its launch, there has been great demands we received from all over the world. As of now, we are happy to have our worldwide networks that have expanded to 25 countries with 29 local distributors. We are expecting to increase more countries and distributors towards the next year.
So where did gunmetal get its name from?
The name of gunmetal comes from the fact that it's a metal but performs like a gum or rubber characteristics. It refers gum and metal, two different substances combined into one. This explains the uniqueness of these raw materials. To elaborate on the mechanical properties a bit more, gunmetal becomes gradually softer according to the amount of distortion. It shows non-linear elastic deformation, which is a similar characteristics of gum or rubber, and this is why it is named gunmetal.
Cool. All right, now, how many versions or types of gunmetal wires are there, actually?
Yes, thank you for asking. We actually have plenty of sizes in arch wires and straight wires, round, square, and rectangular, both upper and lower, as well as arch blanks, which is for the lingo technique. For the laboratory use to fabricate different appliances and auxiliaries, such as Mulligan's overlay arches, we have thicker straight wires too. Newly launched one is called the Type 2 wires that are preformed. It is a wire that uniform active crown lingo torque applied to the entire arch and is applicable for the open bite cases.
Okay, so tell me, what's so special about this wire? How is it different than most wires that have been around for years?
To make it short, all the desired or ideal properties for orthodontic wires. As the attached chart shows, gunmetal is the one and only that has it all, while other conventional wires might have some superior properties over the others, but also has weakness. Gunmetal has two conflicting or opposite characteristics that cannot be obtained at the same time: soft but strong, and flexible but formable, which is different from most metals or alloys.
So you've gotten to meet some of the dentists who use gunmetal in their practice. Can you give some examples of how they actually use it?
Some doctors use it as a finishing wire instead of stainless steel or TMA wires. Some others use it from the beginning until the very end with absolutely one gunmetal wire, with adjustment they make at each appointment.
JM Ortho and the gunmetal plant is in Japan. Can you tell us a little bit about the quality of products made over there?
Gunmetal as a raw material was developed by Toyota Central R&D Laboratories, and gunmetal's trademark is registered by Toyota Tsusho Inc., which is a subsidiary company of Toyota, and we are granted to use that name for orthodontic wires. Dr. Shin Hasegawa, co-inventor of our proud product, happened to find this unique alloy at an exhibition for metallic materials, and he wondered if these unique characteristics could be used to make the most ideal orthodontic wires that he had been dreamed of. Then he brought such an innovative idea to our company. Under the supervision of Dr. Hasegawa, we started the project in 2005 together with the Team Toyota and Marine Works, our manufacturer. Finally, we succeeded to materialize this remarkable product, which is the fruit of finest Japanese craftsmanship spirits. Before its major debut in the US market, where he had been always dreaming of, he unfortunately passed away, but had been always eager to share his unique experiences of these orthodontic wires with international doctors. Gunmetal is the most precious and valuable legacies that he has left to all of us. He was a cheerful and versatile person, being such a talented saxophone player as well as a researcher in many different fields. So, here is my question to you, Victoria. What would you expect if you ever have orthodontic treatment?
Oh man, okay, well, now I'm being put in the hot seat. All right, if I could have the ideal orthodontic treatment, it would be quick, painless, and definitely inexpensive.
Exactly. Now let me tell you 3 major reasons that make people hesitate starting orthodontic treatment. Number 1, long duration of treatment with unpleasant orthodontic devices. Number 2, it may be painful during the treatment. Number 3, it may cost much money. In other words, if we could get over even 1 or 2 reasons or obstacles, there will be more potential markets to be developed for us. In my impressions, light force has been one of the buzzwords in the orthodontic field, no matter what the products they are, wires, plastic plates, etc. In this regards, GUMMETAL is also a titanium-based super elastic light force wire, which shows superior performance than any other wires. GUMMETAL can create optimal orthodontic force that is very gentle and continuous. Therefore, the tools move effectively and efficiently, resulting in the duration of whole treatment can be shorter, which is greatly appreciated by both clinicians and patients. Being flexible and soft, it ensures a better comfort in your patient's mouth as well. I know from some of my friends who had conventional wire treatment before and changed to GUMMETAL wire. They all say that they never want to return to anything else, but stick with GUMMETAL only. And that is one option that they can do. From the clinician's questions point of view, we get impressions from the first-timers or those who, before using GUMMETAL, asking us what would be the benefit of GUMMETAL. And we answer like this, saying, it is just like you have a new tool to open your new window. It can revolutionize the way of your treatment. It may be the wire that opens up your new horizons, as it can introduce totally new approach to your treatment.
Well, there you have it, folks. You heard it right here from the source. I want to thank you, Kimmy, for joining us all the way from Japan. And I would like to take this time to give a special thanks to our guests, Kimmy Asano, Dr. Chang, and Sharon. And thank you to our viewers for making this possible. And in the meantime, if you want to know where you can get your hands on this product, go to gunmetalwire.com/distributors. Gunmetal has partners all over the globe, so reach out to the point of contact in your country, and a representative will get back to you soon. Now, let's have a little fun and see if you know everything you need to know about gunmetal. Thank you for tuning into the first episode of Gunmetal TV. We're here to ensure the world is informed on technological forward product gunmetal, but this isn't the only place you can stay updated. Stay up to date by connecting with us through our social media channels. You can also learn more about gunmetal events in your area by joining our private group on Facebook. One last reminder, gunmetal is an innovative orthodontic product that assists in the correction of teeth. It is an entirely new TiNV-based beta titanium alloy developed by Toyota's Central R&D Labs, a Toyota think tank. It's truly a wire like no other. Before you consider anything else, be kind to yourself and choose gunmetal.